Good evening, Marcel. How are you feeling today?
Good. Thank you for having me. It's been a long day, but I'm happy that I get to spend time with you.
Yeah, dude.
And talk to you.
Appreciate that. So to start off, go ahead and just share your name or how you want to be referred to as during the video.
So my name is Marcel. Pretty simple. Yeah, that's that's my name.
You say it's pretty simple, but you're actually the first Marcel I've ever met.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know a lot of people named Marcel?
Personally, I don't. And if so, it's usually people that are not necessarily born and raised here in California. It's usually people that grew up somewhere else. It's not very common. I know that the name Marcelo with an O at the end is a lot more common. But Marcel itself, not necessarily. I don't know a lot of people called Marcel.
Is it a family name, or were you named after somebody, or how did you get the name?
So it's an interesting story. My mom, I believe that she was at a kindergarten, and she saw a lot of kids at a kindergarten that she went to. I'm not sure if she was the teacher or if she was picking up my sister or something. But she met a kid called Marcel, and she liked the name, and yeah, that's why my name is Marcel.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That's super cute. So speaking of your mom, so you mentioned that you weren't sure if she worked at a school. What did she do when she was growing up for work?
So she had different jobs when I was growing up. Some of her jobs were mainly working as a teacher. She worked as a teacher for a couple of years. And she also worked as a secretary. So I'm thinking that when she met this kid called Marcel, that she might have been a teacher somewhere else. I don't know like the specifics of it, but that's kind of like my guess.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. That's super cool. Sorry, like blanked out for a second.
All good. Yeah, it happens to me all the time.
You're good. That's cool though. So your mom she was the one that chose your name, and from that point, you just kind of been going with it.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, cool. Because only Marcel that I know is one that you mentioned, Marcelo, but he played for Real Madrid and the Brazil national team.
Yeah, is it the guy with the really
curly
hair from Brazil, right?
Yeah, the guy that was the defender.
Yeah, so it's a very common name in the Spanish-speaking world, Marcelo, and also Portuguese maybe. But yeah.
Are you part Portuguese?
No.
Okay.
Not at all. No.
Where's your family originally from?
Yeah, so I definitely have a very complex story when it comes to that. So my mom and also my mom's side of the family comes from Guatemala. That's where also my great-grandparents come from. And then on my dad's side of the family, they come from Germany. So even now, my dad lives in Germany, and also my dad's side of the family lives in Germany. So that's where I come from as far as heritage.
That's a pretty cool combo.
Yeah. Not very common for sure.
How did your parents meet?
Yeah, so my dad, I think that in Germany it's very common for people to do years abroad for, backpacking and just travel a lot. So my dad was not the exception. He went to Mexico, to the south of Mexico, and while he was in the south of Mexico, he crossed the Mexican-Guatemalan border to also do some tourism in Guatemala. And yeah, he was just exploring the country. And then my mom was living in the second largest city in Guatemala called Quetzaltenango. And he was there. Go ahead.
Was it Quetzaltenango?
Quetzaltenango. Yeah, so that's the long name, but nobody actually calls it like that. It's got another nickname as well, which is Xela. So it's Xela.
Xela, okay.
That's kind of like the non-official name, but that's the name that people use the most to refer to that city.
Gotcha, okay. Sorry for interrupting.
But yeah, so my dad was there in that city, Xela, Quetzaltenango. And it just so happened that both my parents were at a restaurant in Quetzaltenango. And yeah, my mom was sitting at a table, and then my dad was sitting at another table, and they were exchanging looks. And then, yeah, one thing led to another, and they met, they started talking, and they started dating, and yeah, that's how I exist now. Pretty much.
That's cute though. Dang. So after they met and they started dating, did they do long distance, or did they stay in one country, or did they move somewhere else?
Yeah, so it's very complex. From what I understand, my dad did stay in Guatemala for quite some time because he was really in love with my mom. And but with the visas and all the paperwork, he had to go back to Germany. So he did go back to Germany for like 6 months, I think. And then eventually he went back to Guatemala. He then married my mom so that my mom could then apply for German residency. And they got married in Guatemala, but then once they got married, they moved to Germany for a couple of years.
Dude, that's so cool. So did you, when they got married, did you at any point grow up in Guatemala?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for a very long time. So I was born in Germany. So even though my parents married in Guatemala, they had me in Germany, and I went to kindergarten in Germany for a bit, and we did a lot of like moving back and forth, but for the most part I was very consistent in staying in Germany from birth up until I was like 6 or 7-ish. And then once I turned 7 or 6, around 6 or 7, my parents divorced, and that's when I moved back to Guatemala with my mom, and my dad stayed in Germany. And after that I stayed in Guatemala until the age of 16, and so kind of like a gypsy,
just moving around.
Yeah, pretty much.
Dang. So when you were in Germany, is that like the primary language that you spoke, or did you learn Spanish from your mom before going to school in Guatemala?
Yeah, so even though I was in Germany between birth up until I was 6, 7, I did go to preschool in Guatemala for like a year, and I was like 3, so there was like this in between time in which I was in Guatemala for like a year. So I did know a little bit of the language, or I did hear some of the language before, so it's not like it was something completely unfamiliar. But then when I moved back to Guatemala when I was 6 or 7, I learned the language pretty fast, because when you're a kid you learn languages very fast. It took me maybe like around 6 or 7 or maybe a year to pick up the language when I was in Guatemala. And then after that, since I spent my childhood and then a huge portion of my teenage years there, then that's how I learned the language.
Nice. Did you happen to pick up German anyways when you were growing up?
Yeah, actually. So even though I was not really speaking the language at all, I did find it frustrating at some point during my teenage years that I was not able to speak the language anymore. And it was kind of embarrassing to me, because I remember that people would make fun of me of like saying, oh, you were born in Germany but you don't really speak German anymore. I would have phone calls with my dad when I was in Guatemala, but then they were very, here and there, they were not very consistent. So with the time, then I started speaking with my dad in Spanish. But yeah, so just to get back to the point, I thought it was kind of embarrassing that I wasn't able to speak the language. So at the age of 14, which is also when Germany won the World Cup in 2014.
Okay, cool, yeah.
That's when I got in contact with a private teacher from Germany that was living in Guatemala in our hometown. And that's when I started picking up the language again, and I learned the language a little bit from scratch, like, all the grammar rules, and German is a very complex language. And we made it work, and we knew him because my mom was friends with someone that knew this teacher, because she wanted her kids to learn German as well. So that's how we connected with that teacher. And I took classes with him for about 2 years, and that's since I already knew some German before starting. It wasn't like super hard, and I picked it up again pretty fast as well, for the most part at least.
Do you still practice it now, or is it kind of come and go?
Yes, it's a little bit complex in my situation, since my dad still lives there. I do find that I have a connection with the country still. I do use it when I go and see my family over there. Also, when I was at Cal State Long Beach, there were a lot of international students from Germany. And yeah, since they were kind of like afraid of the new environment, they were very friendly with me because they were like, oh, this guy knows German, so we can become friends with him and become more familiar with the surroundings. So there's been a lot of practicing, or I don't want to say practicing, but you know, using the language, even though I don't live in Germany. I'm thankful that I have had a lot of opportunities to still use the language even outside of Germany.
That's awesome. I'm super glad to hear that, because you hear a lot from usually like first generation, second generation kids that they lose the language of like their heritage.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's super cool that you know it and you know how to speak it. Do you hope to pass down both Spanish and German to your kids one day, if you want to have kids?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, and I've had this conversation with myself in the past. I want to say like maybe 2 years, because maybe when you're a teenager or like very early in your 20s, you don't really think about the future that much. But once 24 or 23 hit you, you start realizing that, you know, you're just gonna get older. So I want to give them the opportunity to choose what language they want to incorporate in their lives. And of course, incorporating 3 languages is a lot of work. I do it because I like it, but I wouldn't, you know, I know that people don't have to do it. I definitely want to try. I want to see what is more helpful. I've thought about maybe passing on to them the German language, because you obviously learn English and Spanish to an extent, like default here in Southern California. So yeah, I think that since German is more rare, I think it would be more valuable for me to pass that on to them, and then Spanish and English would be a lot easier by, I don't know, taking them to a bilingual school, or, you know,
You're good. I'm gonna force my kids to learn 3 languages. I'm gonna force them, because even now the fact that you know 3 languages is such a huge asset in like the workforce. You don't think so?
I wish I could say that. Okay. I think I used to think like that before, but now with AI, I feel like if you want to learn a language, it's more because you want to be connected with the culture.
Sure.
But not necessarily because it's gonna provide you with any value in the workplace. I mean, I put the fact that I speak 3 languages on my resume, but I don't think people have ever stared at that information and be like, oh, he's such a valuable candidate. They usually look at other things. I think that maybe if you work at an embassy, I think it depends on the job, then maybe it will be more valuable. I think it's also a culture thing. I think that speaking different languages, I don't want to say that it's not appreciated in the United States, but it's definitely not like something that people find as important. And the reason why I say this too is that, for example, in Germany, it's very common to meet Germans that they speak English, of course, because it's an international language, but it's also very common to meet a lot of Germans that want to learn Spanish. Because they find the Spanish-speaking culture very interesting. A lot of them go to Spain over the summer, and when they go to Spain, they learn about the rest of the Latin American countries. But I don't see that happening here too much, where people have this interest in speaking different languages. Whereas, for example, the times that I go and visit my dad in Germany, I find that people, when they find out that I speak 3 languages, they always ask questions of like, how did you make that happen? Or how is that a thing? That's so cool. Whereas here, I don't see that. But I think it's part of the culture. I think it's also because it's the United States. It's very isolated from other languages, because in the north, Canada speaks English and French. And then Mexico in the south, just Spanish. Whereas in a lot of European countries, you have a ton of
multiple languages.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, even I've been learning about that recently as well throughout my travels. Like, Spanish has helped me significantly whenever I travel. Like, English is cool, most people know it, but whenever I'm in Europe, Spanish is like the universal language that most people know.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also interesting. I feel like it depends. I don't want people to think of this as like black and white.
Yeah.
But I do feel like if you go to certain countries and you only speak English, you're going to be perceived a different way.
Yeah.
Whereas if you speak Spanish in other countries, it depends obviously. But people might perceive you as like, oh wow, like very exotic. Whereas in English, it's like, oh whatever. He might be American or British.
Yeah.
An American that didn't even bother learning the language, or
I've experienced that, yeah.
You know. Whereas if you speak Spanish, it's like, oh, where are they from? You know, at least in European countries, that's kind of like the vibe that I've gotten.
No, I mean, I've experienced that as well. Like Europe for sure. Like whenever I would speak English, but then whenever I like focus to Spanish, it was received differently. Like it was like, oh, like cool, like you're different. You get it. Even when I was in Southeast Asia, speaking Spanish was like received very differently, and so it was cool.
Yeah. I was also in Japan in 2019, and I remember that I was talking to my sister in Spanish, and the guy at the cashier, he was like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah.
Whereas if we had spoken in English with one another, I don't think he would have been like intrigued or anything in any way. But yeah, it's just interesting. Yeah.
Have you ever like what's the thing called wire switching or code switched when you're speaking English at one moment and then you switch to speaking Spanish and you kind of throw people off?
I usually don't like doing that because I feel like it's kind of awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah, like sometimes it's happened where my dad calls me on the phone and I don't want to be like, oh, I don't know, like I don't want to draw too much attention to myself, so I just go somewhere else to another room, or Gotcha. I'd rather not to. I kind of keep those parts of myself a little bit like separate. Some people like doing it in front of other people. There's no wrong or good thing about it. I think I'm naturally a more introverted and shy person, so I think that's why I keep those parts of myself a little bit separate. Yeah,
that makes sense. I mean, you're shy, but you're very talented. I mean, we haven't talked about this yet, but we'll get to it. The fact that you know 3 languages and they're pretty different from one another, like English, Spanish, and German. When you talk to your dad, do you talk to him primarily like in one language or another? I'm assuming German, but I also don't want to assume.
Yeah, German, but I don't talk to him very much because he has, you know, kids with his wife and everything, so he's got other priorities at the moment. So I talk more with friends that I've made from Germany. Oh, cool. That have become family. So that's where I do more of the talking in German. Or even, for example, I have friends from college that were international students from Germany that decided to stay here and work here, and I still talk to them. Like even recently I went to an Oktoberfest in Huntington Beach with a friend of mine from Germany. So yeah, I find ways in remaining connected because it's fun. I do it because it's fun.
How is it experiencing? Have you ever been to Oktoberfest in Germany?
I have not, no.
What did your friends say about the Oktoberfest that we have here in the States?
They did like it. I mean, really? I've been to a couple. I've been to the one in Long Beach and I've been to the one in Big Bear. And those are not as good, but I found the one in Huntington Beach pretty fun, actually.
Is there a big German community in Huntington Beach? Or even in SoCal?
I find that they're very spread out for the most part. So they're not like clumped in one city or in one street or whatever. Gotcha. They're pretty scattered, yeah.
Well, fun fact, I don't know if you knew this, but Anaheim was actually founded by German settlers.
Yeah, I mean, the
Did
name Anaheim, yeah.
Most people don't know that. Yeah, I found that.
It would be kind of like Anna's home if you translate it, yeah.
Yeah, I found that out in high school that they named it because it was the town next to the Santa Ana River. So Anna, Anaheim, yeah.
Oh, nice, really?
Yeah, I never knew that.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's a really big, even when you drive around some of the older areas of Anaheim, you see there's a lot of like German authentic restaurants. I'd say like German authentic restaurants, Brost, Brost, like the bratwurst. But they have like a certain name for it, I forget what it is. And so it's interesting to see how much history Anaheim is connected to the German culture.
Yeah.
So yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, cause I don't know if we actually have an Oktoberfest in Anaheim.
But I would assume it's a little bit different now.
Oh yeah, it's very different now.
I mean, back then I'm sure that there was maybe like a big wave of Germans. But I would think that it's a lot different now.
Well, I found out that apparently Anaheim was founded by German settlers because they were trying to do like a Temecula like wine country in Anaheim, but then a bug, it basically experienced a disease where all of the vineyards got infected and then they all died. And so to save the investment of all of the German settlers, they pivoted to having orange trees. And so Anaheim was one of the first like orange orchards. That's why I got the name. And Anaheim's the first city in Orange County. That's why they named it Orange County, because it was the first city and it had a majority of like orange groves.
Oh, really? I would assume that the city of Orange would have been the first city in Orange County, no?
Anaheim was the first one, yeah.
Really? Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
Fun fact.
So why is Orange called Orange?
Could not tell you.
Interesting.
Yeah, but yeah. Going back to your dad, how was it for you growing up with like him being in Germany and you kind of being in Guatemala?
I mean, it was definitely, I want to say a little bit difficult, because I feel like growing up, it's very important to have some sort of father figure. And I was lacking that. I mean, he was present, but kind of like Santa Claus, he would make a guest appearance like once a year with a lot of gifts and, you know, nice travels and whatnot. But it was not very consistent, you know, like, yes, getting gifts and, you know, spending time during the holidays, Christmas together, that's nice, but it's not necessarily enough time for you to you know, learn skills that you as a young man should know.
Yeah, like building that relationship with him.
Exactly. And you can also have the best mother in the world and the most powerful mother in the world, but I also feel like there are things about a father that cannot be replaced by a mother, and also vice versa.
Yeah.
So it was definitely challenging in that aspect, that, you know, I, like, even now I still have to learn a lot of things about being a man in this world that were never really taught to me. So yeah, definitely challenging.
Yeah, I get that. I think I can relate to you on that, because like my parents got divorced at a not super young age, but even my dad was like, it's kind of weird. I don't know if it was the same for you, but for me, it was kind of taboo for my dad to kind of like show affection and kind of be a dad. So although he was here, although he was here, it was very different, because he was like more away, kind of just like doing his own thing. And even to this day, I kind of bullying him about it. I was like, you were here, but you weren't here. And he's like, don't say that.
Oh, right, yeah.
He gets really mad at it, but I agree. Like not having like that figure in your life that you can like have as like that male figure, it can be very effective, or not, but it can be very detrimental.
Right. Yeah.
And it's crazy how much you hear about it on the news, but when you experience it, go like, oh dang, like it's a real thing.
Yeah, I would imagine in your situation it might have been a little bit more difficult, because if he's not there, if your dad's not there, then okay, like you kind of like accept it to an extent. But then if he's there and not really engaging with you, then it's like kind of like a ghost. So I find that could also be a little bit more difficult as well.
Yeah, it definitely sucked, but growing up, and we've talked about it, like we're at a better place now than where we were back then, and he also understands. And I think it's just the culture with my family, not just like my family, but I think the culture within my community, because that's how it really was for a lot of our cousins as well. Like our dads were either working and not really there. And so I think for them it was like their way of showing affection was providing the needs without really providing the like emotional needs.
Right.
And so yeah, it's definitely interesting. And I don't know if that was similar for you, where like although your dad wasn't maybe always there physically, he was there to provide that emotional support in that sense.
Sometimes, but I mean, even there's only so much support you can do on the phone, you know.
Even back then, like the fact now that we have like iPhones and we can FaceTime each other.
We have FaceTime, but at least growing up, we didn't really, or Skype maybe, but even then it was like the signal wouldn't work sometimes, or it was different.
Did you have to buy, because when we were growing up and we had to call family back in Mexico, we had to like buy a card where you had to like get the numbers. It was like 18, probably 11 to 12 length like number. You had to dial it, and then you would dial the number of the person you're trying to call.
I didn't do that because he was the one calling me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he didn't want me to spend so much money.
As he should.
Calling him. So that's why he would be the one calling me for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah, I always wonder, like, back in the day, because I don't know if you remember this. When I was growing up, you only had to dial 6 numbers if you were within a certain area. And then I think it was, like, maybe the late 2000s. Then that's when you had to put, like, the 714 and, like, the whole 9-digit number. No, different. Anyways, so when you were growing up in Guatemala, did you grow up in I know you said that your mom was in the second largest city in Guatemala. Did you grow up in that city, or did you grow up in a different area of Guatemala?
Yeah, I grew up in that city actually. Yeah.
What was it like there? Like, because I've never been to Guatemala, and so I'm curious about like the city life down there versus the city life up here in like SoCal.
It's also different, but it's not as bad as people think. Usually I find that when I mention Guatemala, people think of a country in extreme poverty, and in certain areas it can definitely be like that. But just to give you a good analogy, if you think, I mean, yeah, the US could be considered a very rich country, but
it's very poor areas.
There are very poor areas too. So it's kind of like the same in Guatemala. So generally speaking, it could be considered a poor country, but there are very wealthy areas as well, and very wealthy people, and people with higher education, doctors, psychiatrists, and whatnot. So what it was like growing up, it was a little bit different for me because I lived in a city, so it was different from the rest of the country. It was good for the most part. I went to a private school. I went to a bilingual school, so education was good too.
Nice.
I already came with a foundation of English before coming here as a teenager when I was 16. So education was good. I had a good relationship with my family. I grew up with my cousins from Guatemala, so we were all the same age and we grew up playing together. That was really nice. I wish I could go back to those times. So that was really fun. The community aspect is something that I miss the most. I feel like, at least in the city that I grew up in, if you went to school somewhere, or if you went to a gym somewhere, or if you went to a club somewhere and then you stopped going there, you would eventually see those people anyway, because they all lived in that same area and the city wasn't like super large. Whereas here in Southern California, for example, I mean, yeah, you see your friends from college, but then once you graduate, it's really hard to see them again. You don't see them by like, you don't run into them. That's what I'm trying to say. Whereas in Guatemala, you run into people that you met like 5 years ago or 2 years ago. So there's this constant community that I really appreciate that I had growing up there.
Gotcha. How many of your cousins were, like, if you don't mind like sharing their names, like how many of y'all were growing up together?
Like how many of us?
Like we're the same age and you're like all hanging out like constantly.
Yeah, so it was, including me, it was 4. Yeah,
4 of you guys? Were they all like boys, like around your age?
So 2 boys and 1 girl. Yeah.
Nice. What were their names?
Sure, it's fine. Yeah. No. Sharon, Daniel, and Brian.
That's 3. You're missing 1.
I mean, me.
Oh, including yourself. Gotcha.
And then Marcel. Yeah.
So I'm assuming you guys got, not into a lot of trouble, but you guys had a lot of like fun stories growing up.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What are your favorite stories growing up with them?
There are many.
Is there a story that you never told your mom about?
I don't think so. No. She would find out eventually. I don't think so.
What's your favorite one about them?
I guess one time, the way how houses in Guatemala are a little bit weird because they're next to each other, but like literally. So I remember that my house was connected to this other house from the roof, and for whatever reason, me and my cousin went up to the roof, and we saw that the other house had like I guess they wanted the air to come from the ceiling, so they had like an opening, and that opening led to the bathroom. So I just remember that with my cousin, we grabbed like a pile of dirt and then threw that on top of the toilet for, there was no purpose in doing that, but we did it because we thought it was hilarious. And then the neighbor found out anyway. I mean, it was obvious. She was saying, "Oh, I'm gonna call the police and the cops." She didn't, but fun story. A little bit random.
No, it's funny though. That's super funny. That's like the things that you miss growing up because you're like, oh, I remember like being super just not maleficent. I forgot the word. But yeah, that's
evil.
Cool. Evil, yeah. So that's one way of putting it. Nice.
Yeah.
Do you all still talk a lot or no?
If I talk to them?
Yeah, your cousins?
Yes, actually, 2 of them already live here. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So they don't live here in Southern California. They live in Las Vegas. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we do talk every once in a while.
Nice. I'm glad to hear that because you love whenever you like reminisce on those stories and then you still like talk about it with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it's just crazy because we're all growing up and getting older, so obviously things are changing and they're doing their own stuff. But yeah, we were definitely very close. We grew up as basically siblings. Yeah.
Do you remember like the first memory you have of them?
Yeah, actually. So when I moved from Germany to Guatemala, I want to say kind of like the first week that I got there, I remember that they came over to my house and we started playing together with one another. And yeah, that was a very fun memory because I thought it was cool because when I was living with my dad, I was not really growing up with a lot of kids or anything. I mean, it was just me and my dad. So going to Guatemala and seeing that I had this community of people my age that were also 5 and 6 was amazing to me. Yeah.
Heck yeah. What were some of the things that you guys would do playing like when you're growing up?
Just a lot of playing in the streets, like I don't know, like playing in the ground. They also lived not too far away from my house, and just a lot of tree climbing, a lot of random adventures. They lived in a more rural area, so I remember that it's a lot different now, but back then where they lived, there weren't many houses around, so I remember that there would be a lot of fields, a lot of cornfields, so sometimes we would go in the middle of the cornfields and just play hide and seek in the cornfields or play tag during the day.
That's terrifying. I'd be scared if I get lost in there.
I mean, they were not like super huge. You were able to find your way back.
Eventually.
But it was fun. Yeah. Actually, now that I talk about it, I don't think I would have remembered that if we didn't. Yeah.
No, it's awesome. I'm happy bringing that up.
Yeah.
Do you ever visit like corn mazes nowadays? Kind of like think back to the memory of like playing with your cousins.
I don't think it would be the same because I don't think you'd be able to go to a corn maze here inside and then. I mean, I don't even know if they exist. I mean, I'm sure they exist, but I don't think
this area.
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense. I think there's a corn maze that I've seen out in Riverside. They have a really like large pumpkin patch, but out here there aren't that many.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume it's like separate and that you're not easily able to go inside and steal the corn.
You steal the corn?
I might have done that a couple of times. That's a rite of passage
in Guatemala.
Growing up in Guatemala,
I love that.
Doing it at least once.
God, you steal corn from somebody else.
Yeah.
That's super funny. When you were growing up, so it sounds like you grew up in a really like, so you grew up in a city and you like went to school. Did you ever, because my family grew up in a small farm, and so they went to school. I think up until like middle school, and then after that, they weren't able to go to school because there were no schools in the area, and so yeah, so they would go. So I don't know if you like. There's like this stereotypical story of like people in Mexico. They would walk like 2 or 3 hours every morning at the school. Have you heard those stories?
Sometimes, yeah, I think so. Yeah.
My family did that, supposedly.
Yeah. Really? Oh, interesting.
I don't know. They say they did, but for you and your family, were you all in the same classes together, or your cousins that were more in like the rural areas go to school in different areas?
So even though they lived in a little bit of a more rural area, they still went to school in the city. So their education was about the same as the education that I had. One of them did really good at school. He was a really good student. So it was not that different. I mean, yeah, kind of like the particular thing about that city where I grew up in, Quetzaltenango, is that it's not huge. So at least back then, traffic was not an issue. So you could still live in the rural areas and still have access to a good education if you were able to afford it. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Is it very touristy or no?
Not really.
Okay.
No. So that's why I'm surprised that my dad even visited that city. Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
What part of Germany was your dad from, or is from?
Leipzig. So that's
Leipzig?
Eastern
Okay.
Germany.
I don't think I've ever heard of Leipzig.
Leipzig, yeah. So it's 2 hours away southwest from Germany, or from
Okay.
Berlin.
Is it a pretty big town, or?
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
I've never been there.
Yeah, it's... A lot of people like to say that it's a better version of Berlin. Yeah, because it's not very dirty. It's clean. Crime rate is very low.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever considered moving there for a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a little bit challenging because I have a family over here as well, so I wouldn't want to leave them behind. I've done my attempts in the past before. For whatever reason, they didn't work out, but definitely if there is an opportunity to go back, I'd love to stay a little bit longer. Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. I know you mentioned it earlier that your dad was in Mexico and Guatemala because he had like a travel bug. Did you ever have that same travel bug for yourself to want to just go out into different areas?
Yeah, absolutely. I had that more between the ages of, I want to say 18 and 22. I mean, also growing up as a child, I was always very fascinated about different cultures and different countries. I remember that growing up, my favorite games were Monopoly, but they had a international Monopoly version where instead of buying like property, you were buying the country. So those games were my favorite ones.
Oh, never heard of that one.
Yeah, so that one, or on the Wii, I remember that. Are you familiar with the game Wii Party?
Yes.
From the Wii, yeah. So in that one, they had a game where you were playing a board game, but instead of being in the board game, you were in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And your duty was to take as many pictures in different parts of the world as possible.
I never played that one.
Yeah, so that was also my favorite game, and things like that. I remember that also during my free time, I would spend time on Wikipedia of like searching or looking up what are the 7 wonders of the world. What countries were colonized by the United Kingdom, or what countries apart from Latin America were colonized by Spain, which is Equatorial Guinea in Africa, or the Philippines in Asia. So stuff like that. So going back to your question, I've always had that interest in traveling to different places, but I had it the most between the ages of 18 and 22.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, it sounds like you've had it for majority of your life because you had that curiosity to learn more.
Yeah, I mean, I was always exposed to different places and different peoples, so it kind of came naturally to me for that reason.
Gotcha. Going into that, I'm sure that you were exposed to very different foods when you were growing up. I'm familiar with some Guatemalan food and some German foods, but do you know of like a lot of cuisines from both cultures?
So from Guatemala, I'm a lot more familiar with the names. With Germany, I know the dishes by looking at them, but I forget the names all the time. But yeah, I definitely think that German food and Guatemalan food is quite underrated. Yeah,
Yeah, because I've actually been in Germany, and I didn't realize how much fried food they had in Germany. Like the one that I had a lot was oh my god, what was it called? It was like a fried chicken steak.
Yeah, schnitzel.
Schnitzel, yeah. I forgot that. I love schnitzel, but I didn't realize like how similar that is to like pollo empanizado.
Yeah, so that would be kind of like the lesser, like not necessarily like the one that I like the most. There are other dishes that I like the most.
Please share.
Yeah.
I love learning about food, so please give your like favorite dishes.
I don't know the names. Yeah, that's the thing, but there are a lot better dishes for sure. Yeah.
Can you describe them without having your mouth water?
This one is not necessarily like purely German.
Okay.
I don't know if you're familiar with the Döner or Doner kebab.
No.
Yeah, so it's basically a sandwich that was created by Turkish immigrants in Germany.
Okay.
That's my favorite dish. That's my absolute favorite dish from all the dishes around the
Really?
world. Yeah.
Is there a place here in Stockholm you can get it?
Yeah, actually, you can get it. I believe they have a place in West Hollywood, and it's called Berlin's.
Okay.
Which is very interesting because it's sort of German because it was created in Germany, but by Turkish immigrants. But yeah, it's also pretty authentic too. It's very similar to the ones that they sell in Germany.
What makes it a German sandwich or like a Turkish? Well, it's a German sandwich, but what makes that different from like a sandwich from the U.S.?
I'd say the meat. I don't know what
The
they
meat?
put on the meat. I think it's the meat definitely.
Is it, like,
The meat
thicker?
and the bread.
Okay.
Are you familiar with kind of like the Greek bread that they have?
Yeah, it's like ciabatta.
Yeah, so they use that and then the meat. It's something about the meat and the combination of the meat and the bread.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. I'm a huge sandwich guy, so hearing that, I'm like, I gotta learn about this.
Definitely. I can share it with you.
I would love
you
that.
You gotta go.
West Hollywood's kind of far, but if I ever go out there, I'm definitely gonna try it.
Yeah, definitely from here. I forget how far a lot of places in...
Yeah, but it's like an hour from here.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you're in Anaheim, a lot of places in LA County are super far.
Yeah, especially traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah, if there wasn't a lot of traffic, it would be like half an hour to 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Because of traffic, it's like an hour and a half.
Or maybe sometimes 2 hours, yeah.
Yeah, usually with all that LA traffic.
That's the crazy thing, because since I live in Downey, I don't really think about the fact that, people that live on the other side, it would take them forever to go to the other side. Because I do a lot of back and forth between Orange County and LA County, yeah. Yeah,
actually, I'm happy you brought that up. I know earlier you were talking about how you have a new job and you're kind of in the tech world.
I don't want to talk myself too much.
All right, how would you describe what you're in then?
The job?
Yeah, how would you describe it? I think it's tech.
I mean, maybe in the beginning stages, yeah. Okay. Digital marketing, I mean...
Yeah, it's tech. I mean, yeah. I guess if I were to say, like, I'm in tech, people would assume, like, I'm in something else, but... Okay.
Yeah.
How did you find your passion in what you're doing right now?
So, passion is a very strong word, I think. Yeah. I mean, I like doing it. I like editing videos, but I feel like you also have to be a little bit careful. I think that there is this conception that if you make your passion your job, you're never gonna work a day in your life. That can be true to an extent, but also if you do something for so long, you're not gonna like it anymore. It's kind of like, for example, if I like pizza, but if I eat pizza every single day, I'm gonna stop liking it. So going back to your question, like, how do you find passion? I mean, I do like creating videos and editing, but in order to keep that passion, what I do is that I like having something more important to focus on, and then in my free time spending that time with my interests. So for example, I do content for under my own name, but in order to still like it and still enjoy it, I find that it's helpful to do maybe the content creation for another company instead of just for myself. Or do something else, and then
Gotcha. It's the question. So you gave the metaphor of like eating pizza every day, you can get tired of it. Have you ever thought about how there are ways to alter the pizza so that although it's still pizza, it's different, like Detroit style, Chicago style, New York style, and like putting different toppings or just figuring out ways to make it different?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's basically what I do when I create content for myself or under my name and not for the company that I'm working at. That I change it up a little bit because I feel like if it's exactly the same, then I would get tired. So I make sure that I have a common theme, but also make sure that it's a little bit different so that I can keep the variety and the variety going.
Gotcha. Do you see yourself working in like this industry of content creation for a while?
I definitely want to do it for a couple of years for someone else, like what I'm doing right now. But later on, I would like to do something more related to the sciences and the numbers. Growing up, actually, I was mainly a math and science person.
STEM.
Yeah, but for some reason, the arts and humanities came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That was super random. So I definitely want to go back to that part of myself. Yeah, eventually.
Was there a career, like when people would ask you when you were growing up, like, what do you want to be when you grow up, that you had an answer for?
Yeah, that's really interesting because I would change my answer all the time.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if you ever had like a specific answer to that question growing up.
I'll let you answer first. I know you said
For
not really,
me?
but what were the things that you gave? The answers you gave?
At one point I said I wanted to be a doctor. At one point I said I wanted to be an engineer. At one point I said I wanted to be an actor. At one point I said I wanted to be an athlete in the Olympics and whatever, like super random stuff. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Which, looking back, it kind of makes sense. I mean, there is some common ground with a couple of them. Yeah, so like maybe between, I don't want to say actor, but like, yeah, so like with content creation, I don't want to say acting, but there is this aspect of like where you separate yourself from the person that's on the videos. So I guess I do act a little bit when I create videos under my name, because I'm not exactly that way when you meet me in person. So in person, I'm a lot more quiet, a lot more introverted, but when I make videos, I'm a lot more loud, a lot more extroverted, a lot more talkative. So I guess a little bit of an aspect of acting in there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Dang, so it sounds like you're, I don't want to say like like you're really pushing your boundary to be like a person that is more animated online.
Yeah, absolutely. Like even this, like I'm not really someone that talks too much about himself. I usually let other people
I know.
take the spotlight. Yeah. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
I normally try to keep that a little bit underground or a little bit more subtle. But yeah, usually when, like, even if there's a group of people, let's say we were with other 2 people or 3 people in this room, I would allow you guys to take over the spotlight and kind of like just have me in the background listening. But like even this is something that I rarely or hardly ever do.
Yeah, no, I remember when I first met you, you're very like soft spoken, very shy. But once I get to know,
I still am.
Yeah, but like once you get to know you, like I very very quickly recognize that you have a lot of I don't want to say potential, because you use it. Like you have a lot of passion. You have a lot of passion, a lot of drive, and you do things that you want to do.
Yeah, sometimes, not all the time. But
I mean, the fact that you're doing content creation, it's a huge thing. Like most people that are very introverted and very shy don't do that.
Yeah, but you'd be surprised. Actually, a lot of people that are actors and that do, that have a presence on social media, a lot of them, I've watched a lot of interviews and they say that they're very shy people. Like I was watching a podcast from Emma Watson a couple of weeks ago, and she was saying that she's naturally a very shy person, and that she has a really hard time talking in front of a group of people, which is insane considering how popular the Harry Potter movies were. Yeah. And how surrounded she was, how many people were around her when she was making the films, and a lot of people have made those claims. I think that they separate the person that is on screen with who they are, so that's why they're able to do that. They're
able to be a different person.
Yeah, so for example, if I had to be the way that I am on social media in real life, that would be super exhausting. I wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot more sense. And it's true. I mean, having to be that animated, that loud at 24/7 would be so exhausting.
Yeah, and even you're good. And even you, when you were chapter advisor, you met a lot of guys that were a lot louder than me, and a lot more extroverted. So, and sometimes I'd be surprised that they wouldn't like put themselves out there when it came to public speaking or having a presence on social media. So it's very weird. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm happy you brought that up, because like in the chapter, you were definitely like one of the more soft-spoken people and more like humble, but you did a lot. Like I always dude, I always tell the guys when you graduated that our social media never looked better than when you ran it.
Yeah, and that's interesting.
It's a fact, and it's like the way you said, there's a lot of yappers that are just a lot of talk that don't do anything. That they just want to hear their own voice but not actually accomplish anything.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people that like to talk for the sake of talking. And
yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, it's also good practice, but for whatever reason, like even talking just for the sake of talking, that doesn't come naturally to me. I feel like there has to be
purpose.
Yeah, some purpose, or like that's why also small talk is really difficult for me. Like I'll do it for the sake of, going with the flow.
Yeah.
But I find it also very exhausting. Yeah, because it never really goes anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you whenever you're at work, do you ever have the conversation where it's like, oh, how's it going? And you're like, oh, it's good, and you close like walk away?
Yeah, I don't like that. I find that more exhausting than running 10 laps in a block. Yeah, it's something that I really don't. I'd rather not talk or have the room be a little bit quiet, but then when there is a conversation, it comes with a little bit of purpose. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
And it doesn't have to be like super deep, as long as there is some sort of, like you actually do want to talk to me, or you actually do want to know what's going on. But if you also don't want to know what's going on or how my day was, that's also fine. I mean, I'd rather you not ask me than pretend that you have to ask me because you feel like you have to.
Yeah. Let me know when you do this. Whenever I'm at work and people ask how I'm doing, I'm like, oh, it's a little rough today. My back kind of hurts. I give them like a full detail of like how I'm doing, and like, oh, okay.
Oh, really? Interesting.
And they don't know what to say, and I'm like, well, you asked. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I know how the dynamic works, so that's why I would say maybe like, oh, I'm doing all right. Let's say if I'm not doing well, I'll say, oh, I'm doing all right, Yeah.
I definitely have coworkers that say, oh, I'm doing all right. And then I'm like, oh, well, what's going on? And then like, oh, you want to know? I'm like, yeah. And then they like tell me what's going on. Then we have a full on conversation.
Oh, they actually say what's going on?
Yeah, really? Usually they do. I've had a couple of students that I work with when I ask them like I can tell something's up, and then they're like, oh, I'm doing okay. And then I'm like, how are you actually? They break down crying. I've had people have
really. Yeah, that's insane.
I have this joke with it's not really a joke. I shouldn't say it's a joke. I'm sorry. I have this thing where I tell my family like I've had like at least one person crying in my office a month at least.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just like life happens, and like no one asks them how they're doing, and so when someone finally asks them like what's up, and like you actually take the time to listen to them, like they open up.
Oh wow!
Because no one else opens up for them. Or
okay.
they have no one else open up to at that point.
So is it usually guys or girls?
It's a mixture of both.
Oh really? That's insane.
Yeah, it's a mixture of both. Yeah, and it's funny because I feel very lucky and blessed to know that people feel comfortable opening up, but it's also kind of like it sucks to know that people are talking to a stranger about how life is.
Yeah, I mean, it's also difficult. I feel like. Yeah, I think there is some benefit in maybe opening up and telling your stories or what you're going through, or sharing that with other people. I feel like if you keep it to yourself, it can be dangerous long term.
Yeah.
But it's also difficult because there are times in which people do open up to other people, and usually the other person doesn't really help. Or maybe you're sharing that information with the wrong person, and they might make the situation worse by sharing that information to someone else. Well, the intention was that for that information to remain private. So I think that's where the difficulty comes from too.
Yeah, no, it's straight facts. Yeah, so going back to what we were talking about earlier, yeah, the fact that you're introvert, I definitely see it. I definitely see it for sure. But you do have a lot.
I embrace it now.
You've done before?
I think that I would see that people that were more extroverted would get more praise or more acknowledgement. So that's why I would be ashamed about it. But now that I see that you can also be successful while still remaining introverted, I don't find that as embarrassing. Obviously not completely. I wish I could embrace it a little bit more, but obviously that takes time. But definitely I've gotten a lot more comfortable. I mean, there are things that I'm surprised that I'm able to do, just because of my my nature of being more, introverted. But yeah, it's not something that bothers me as much because I've seen that I'm also able to accomplish what other more extroverted people are able to accomplish.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Is there something that you're trying to accomplish right now that you're aiming to do?
So what do you mean?
Like, what's one of the things that you want to accomplish right now in the next couple months, couple years, something that you're like kind of working towards?
I'd say being more independent. I do want to build more independence and also be able to support my family. So I've gotten a lot of support from my family before, but I want to give that support back. So let's say if my parents ever have financial struggles, that I am the one then helping them out. That's something that I do want to develop.
Are you the oldest?
Huh?
Are you the oldest?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, so on my mom's side, one sister, older sister, and then on my dad's side, yeah, I'd be the oldest. I have two younger sisters. Yeah.
Gotcha. So you're kind of in the middle.
Yeah, but my older sister and then my two younger sisters, they're not related to one another.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So they're half sisters. Yeah.
Are you the only boy?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sure that also adds some pressure.
Oh,
as well.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So since you're kind of in the middle, like two cultures, I'm not too familiar about either of them, but is there like a big patriarchy of like where the expectation is like the son or the male is kind of like expected to take on the burden of taking care of the parents and the families?
I'd say maybe in Guatemalan culture a little bit more, but then with my family it was a little bit different. My mom was never she didn't really have a lot of black and white thinking when it came to that, so I don't think there's pressure coming from her necessarily, but I do find that it's important for, at least for me, I'd like to be able to, have that strength and be able to support my family and others.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that.
All good.
No, that makes sense. I mean, that's definitely a very honorable goal to have, is to want to support your family.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's also a big challenge.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure you feel the pressure of like, dang, like things are adding up.
Yeah.
And I got to be able to be ready to take that on.
Yeah, and especially as you get older, I think you can see it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there, again, besides your dad, and your cousins, are there other male, I guess, figures in your life that you can, like, that are your confidants or people that you really rely on?
Besides my parents, you said? Or?
Yeah, besides like your cousins. I know you mentioned you had two cousins that were males, and then your dad, obviously. Mm-hmm. Is there like any mentors or people that you really like rely on?
Yeah, so that's the hard thing. I think that finding a mentor is definitely very important. That's been kind of the challenging part of growing up, that finding a mentor was always very difficult. Now I would say my uncle, he lives far away from here. He lives in Northern California, but he's been able to really grow in his career and also be very successful. He's a doctor. He's a medical doctor in Northern California at Kaiser, I believe. And he was studying medicine in Guatemala, and then he was able to transfer those credits when he came here to the US. Nice. And yeah, he's been able to be successful. Yeah.
That's super cool. Are you and your uncle, like, have you had a chance to, like, what's one of your favorite stories that you had a chance to talk to him about?
So usually the conversations that we have are mainly group conversations, but now that you mention it, I definitely should talk to him individually.
Yeah, to kind of pick his brain about what it was like for him. Because you both have similar upbringings. You both came from Guatemala to the States and are obviously accomplishing a lot for each other. Not for each other, but accomplishing a lot of things individually.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, I wonder, like, what it was like for him to find his community and to find his path up here.
I mean, he does mention that it was very difficult. He had a really hard time being able to transfer what he was doing in Guatemala over here, to transfer those credits and whatever you need. Also, it's a very expensive career, medicine, but somehow he found a way to find scholarships and do his residency, and he was able to do it, and now he's doing well. I mean, a doctor, not anyone can be a doctor.
Yeah. What kind of doctor is he?
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know that he's a director of. Yeah.
Oh, damn, that's pretty big deal.
Yeah. So yeah.
If he's a director like at a college, that's a pretty big thing.
Yeah. So dang, he's doing very well.
Heck yeah. No, I mean, I would love to hear more and find out like what that was like for him, because I can only imagine like what it was like to, like I said, it was the challenges of trying to transfer all your credits over and then become a doctor, now a director of a hospital potentially.
Yeah. And also navigating the education system here is very difficult, let alone doing it as someone that didn't grow up here. I feel like if you grew up here and were born here, you kind of have a leg up. You sort of know how the system works, you know how, which careers are worth getting into, or, because with some careers, if you only have a bachelor's, it's not going to take you anywhere. And then with other careers, it's a little bit more simple. So when you grow up here, like the system, the education system and everything, but obviously it's different in other places. So the fact that he also had to learn that at an older age, it's very...
Its own challenges.
Yeah.
I get that. When you were applying for schools to come here in California, was Long Beach like one of the only schools you went to, or were there other options that you were looking at?
So I did check out the other CSUs, and I did check out Cal State Fullerton, and I did like the campus from the outside, but...
Cal State Fullerton?
Yeah, I did like it. No. Is it not nice for you?
No, I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
I have a personal vendetta against them, so it's fine.
Oh, yeah? Okay. So beef?
A little bit.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
So those were my top two, honestly.
Okay.
So CSU, Fullerton, and then Cal State Long Beach.
Nice. What was it like for you? Because did you ever visit, like, what were the schools, was the goal always to go to university in the States? When
I was looking at universities, I was, 17, 16, so you don't really know much about life. So I was kind of just going with the flow. It was the easier thing to do because I was already in my senior year of high school. I did my last 2 years of high school here. And I was already looking, they were already incentivizing going to college. So it never really crossed my mind to go somewhere else, because also my dad never really brought that idea. Maybe if he had brought up that idea, I might have done that. But at the time, it seemed that would be the easier thing to do, to just go to college here. Yeah.
Okay. Did you know right away when you applied what your major was going to be?
No. So I had a lot of issues with that too. Even when I was a child, I was very indecisive with what I wanted to do. And still, even in college, I was still quite indecisive. I think that it's also very difficult knowing what you want to do for the rest of your life at a very young age.
Yeah.
Those that do know, I wonder how they're able to, because I do remember that I would put a lot of thought and a lot of effort in finding something that I could do long term. But I think that socially it should be more acceptable to start college at maybe 21, 22. I think that I would have been able to make better decisions had I started a little bit later. I feel like starting college at 18, basically a child, is a little bit too young. That's my opinion at least.
No, I definitely agree. I hear you on that. I remember when I turned 18, I was like, I'm an adult now. I can do whatever I want. And I look back, I'm like, I had no idea what I was doing. Yeah. I didn't feel like I was an adult until I was my mid-20s.
Really? Yeah.
Because I was figuring it out. Being in college from 18 to I think, 22, 23, was a huge transition because I was like literally figuring out how to be like just a person, not even an adult, just a person.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I mean, starting school a little later would have been different, but I do wonder what it's like. Because I know in Europe, it's pretty common, like once you graduate from high school, you take like a year abroad to kind of travel a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. And it's also a lot common. I mean, I guess it depends, but I also find that it's common for people to start college maybe at the age of 20, 21. A lot of people don't rush it. Yeah, so it's definitely a lot different. Yeah. But even I look at my life and I see, you know, the demands with the job market and all of that. And even at 22, I felt like I would have been able to make a better choice of like where I want my life to head or what degree to study. I think I would have been able to make a better decision a little bit older. Yeah.
Gotcha. I get that. What do you think, looking back now in hindsight, what do you think your preferred major would have been when you were in school if you had gone at a later age?
I would have picked something maybe like in cybersecurity, computer engineering, computer science. Yeah, I mean, I believe I made the mistake of looking too much at what my interests were or what I found interesting. And I think it would have been more helpful to look at what is always going to be a need or what is always going to, I don't want to say always, but what is very likely for you, where can you find the most money or where can you make the most money, and then in my free time spending that time with whatever I love doing.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah, because usually people tell you, oh, you gotta do what you're passionate about, and yes, I think you're supposed to hold on to your dreams but lightly, and then once you find that maybe by working on your dreams you're getting paid more, then that's for you time to let go of what's, you know, the secure part, if that makes sense. I phrased it a little bit weird, but yeah.
No, it makes sense. Like you want to like kind of what you mentioned in the very beginning, you want to find your passion so that way you never work a day in your life, but you also want to make sure that what you're doing every day doesn't burn you out.
Yeah, so maybe the best example would be that I one time read a book about this DJ that he was a lawyer, but he really wanted to become a DJ. And his dad saw that he was really passionate about being a DJ, but obviously being a DJ is very risky. So he said, okay, focus on becoming a lawyer. And then once you're able to prove to yourself financially that you're making more money as a DJ, then you can let go of being a lawyer. And that advice stuck with me. I think that's the best advice that anyone can take. You know, pick something stable, pick something that guarantees a more stable income, a higher income. Obviously spend maybe like a day or two in something that you really enjoy. And once you find that you're able to make a lot more money from that passion, then that's your sign for you to let go of that secure income or what you thought was secure. Or yeah.
That makes perfect sense. Okay. Well, Marcel, we are getting close to the very end of the podcast. And so I always love leaving, or rephrasing it. We end the podcast by having the guests share a memory that they want to make sure is remembered for all times. Memories can be things that you think of every time that you see this episode, or they can be memories that you want to make sure are preserved and saved for forever, so that way they're never forgotten. It can be your memory, it can be happy, it can be sad, it can be a lesson, it can be any memory that you want to make sure is preserved.
Any memory,
yeah. Take your time if you want to think about it for a second.
Yeah, I actually have this very clear memory. When I was also in college, I remember that it was kind of like the beginning weeks of the class, and you know how at Cal State Long Beach they have the rec center, which is super nice, and that they have a pool and a jacuzzi and everything outside. So I do remember that this one time I was at the jacuzzi, and then other people from other classes that I had met, and we just had wonderful conversations with one another during the evening, you know, at the jacuzzi. And yeah, that's a very lovely memory that I have. I remember feeling the adrenaline of you know, the excitement that there were so many people that were like me and we were all spending time together. And yeah, that's a memory that I cherish.
Heck yeah, dude. It's very beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I normally don't do this. It was a challenge, but I made it.
You did great.
I made it happen.
You did fantastic. No, you did really, really good, Marcel.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll say thank you. And then this definitely won't be the last time we have you on. And we're excited to have you for the next time. But with that, we'll cut it.
Sounds good.
Cool.